Hi, today we're going to change the fuel filter on this Freelander 1 V6. The fuel filter is located in the fuel pump unit. This is a new unit I got. Beauty about Land Rover and Freelanders is the parts are incredibly cheap. This one was on eBay, brand new, £37 including the postage, as a whole unit including the pump, the level sensor and everything. So rather than just change the filter, which is there, I thought I might as well change the whole lot for that amount of money. It should be quite easy to change. It's located under the carpet and a little inspection hatch, which you'll see in a minute over there. Same, I think, on the 1.8 and the V6. Probably something that gets neglected a lot. And the reason I'm changing it, not only for good service reasons, but that's because there is a symptom that it loses power when you're booting the car, i.e. giving it full throttle, around about 5,000 revs accelerating, the power suddenly cuts out. It feels very much like fuel starvation. It cuts out and drops to probably 2,000 revs or so. This is an automatic, and recovers within a few seconds after you take your foot off the throttle, as the fuel pressure builds back up again. So the symptoms are very much of a clogged fuel filter. I'm hoping that's going to be the case, and we'll test drive it and find out shortly. So to get to the filter, we obviously put the seats up. Bit of a mess, this car, been heavily neglected, and I doubt the fuel filter's ever been changed. It's done about 80,000 miles, probably due for a change anyhow. And being the V6, of course, it uses a fair bit more petrol, and so I should think the V6 will show this symptom much more than a 1.8 ever would. So there's the hatch that we need to remove, and I think it's just got some Phillips screws in it. Yep. So get my screwdriver and start on that. Alright, so that's the cover off, as you can see. What we've got to do now, I think, yep, squeeze. No, you can see here, but yeah, you squeeze both sides of this clip, I believe, and that releases that piece of plastic off the edge. And while doing that, you prise it off or pull it off. It's starting to come off on these. There we go. I was going to say get a little bit stuck, but that was fine. And then we'll just get some tissues under this hose before I disconnect it. This is the outlet hose, so there's no return on this system. And I think we'll just squeeze those two pieces of plastic together. Hopefully you can see that. Probably just about. And that should, yep, that just pulls out, just in case it's high pressure. Cover over the top. There's a little bit of fuel being released there. And it comes off. Oh, not a lot of movement there. Might be easier to pull that out finally once the pump is removed. So they do talk about in the manual having special tools to get these locking rings, but what you can do is get a flat bladed screwdriver and a hammer, which is here, and just knock it anti-clockwise. That should release. Where's a good place to do it? Over here. Yep. And it's starting to come. Move my hand yet. Yep. Okay. That is now loose. Question is, we've got the pump loosen up. That's probably got an O-ring around it or something. There we go, that's loosened. Turn it off a bit more. Now that we've loosened it up, we can turn the pump a little bit, make it easier to get this pipe clipping out, like so. And then we move this pipe out of the way. Should be able to just lift the whole thing out. Like so. Try not to let anything drop in the tank, and also give it a chance for the fuel to drain out of the pump and filter arrangement. And don't forget, you also have a float level in here, which you've got to wiggle out. It's just where you can see the fuel in the bottom of the pump. Levels going down, so just let that drain out a bit. Now you don't want to do this on a completely full tank. This tank is about half full, and the petrol's about 4 or 5 inches below the top there. And that's going to fully empty, so that will have to do. I'll empty the rest of it into a can. So that was dead easy. So I'm just going to take it out and put the new one in. And then we just swap over the sealing ring, this bit on the end, give it a wipe off, and drop in the new one. Just goes in like so, and there's a little plug on here that had to be removed. And before we plug it in, just need to have the locking ring back in place. Let's pop that under the pipe first, I think. Pull this back. Check that pump's going to go in nicely. I think it should. Right, before I fit it, we'll just plug this pipe in. Make sure you get it in straight so you don't dislodge any O-rings. Or just noticed actually comes with a pipe clip, so I need to remove the old pipe clip. I think it's easier just to remove the pipe fitting. Comes with a new one, I think. Is that going to come out? Let's see. Yep, there we go. So we'll just remove that pipe locking clip before fitting the new pipe. And as I say, just got to make sure that goes in straight. There we go. Right. Make sure it won't come out. Give it a good pull. I believe that is nicely positioned. Might as well plug in as well. Tighten up the locking ring. Might need to just push this down a bit. In fact, I wonder if it locks in a particular position. Yes, it does. I think. Yeah. Just out there. Tightening. Tightly by hand, as much as you can. And then we'll use our hammer and screwdriver trick again. Okay. Do it both sides. Tightens up evenly then. think that's tight enough. Right, so what we'll do, turn the ignition off and on a few times to activate the fuel pump, and leave the cover off while we go for a drive. Make sure we don't lose the screws, and just check there's no fuel leaks around the tank, that it's sealed properly and it's not splashing out everywhere. So just take my screws, clips and screwdrivers and bits, and go for a drive, and then we'll see if that power loss at 5,000 revs has been fixed or not. So that's the test drive, and no leaks around there, which is good. On the bad side, didn't actually fix the power loss when boosting it, when accelerating a lot at about 5,000 revs. So what I now suspect is the supply to the pump. So we'll just check this connector, make sure there's no resistance in the actual connector itself. You can get this on off-roading cars, both I think the front, but definitely the rear stop and tail lights. The connections in the socket disconnected, probably because of water getting in and corroding. Even though a lot of these sockets on Land Rovers are waterproof, but maybe not all of them. So we'll check the resistance of the socket, and then I'll just slice into a bit of cable and find the one that's the 12 volt supply, and just measure and check that it is 12 volts all of the time, and maybe monitor it while I'm driving along. So I measured the voltage, and when driving it was about 13.8 volts all of the time, and got an assistant to look at the reading, popped it over there, and when we ran out driving to see if the voltage cut while the power cut, which shows an electrical supply problem to the pump, the power didn't cut at all. So the fault seems to have gone away. So either fiddling with the plug got rid of a bit of resistance on the contacts, or maybe just the pump somehow needed to settle in a bit. But either way, I couldn't reproduce the problem at all, and the loss of power is no longer there, even though it was very repeatable previously. Went all the way up to the 6,500 RPM, and there was no power loss. So for the moment, I'm going to leave it like that, see if it ever reoccurs. Slightly unsatisfactory outcome, but at least it's fixed, and I think it was associated with the fuel pump, because now we've changed it, then the power is back. Quick note on changes to the fuel pump on the Freelander. There's a couple of things that I've upgraded. One is the regulator, the standard regulator inside the fuel pump. This is a fuel pump assembly. Standard regulator is 3.6 bar as stated on it there, which measures at about that. That goes into this little housing here, which pops into that space there. As you can see, this whole housing has been disassembled. It all pops apart fairly easily. This is the fuel filter that's part of the housing. That's the old one, that's the new one. Got that on eBay. Put some links in the video description. I've got an updated fuel pump. This is one by Quantum. Quite a good make, same as Walbro. I think they're all owned by the same company. This is the original one. You can see the new one, even though it's a higher flow rate at 255 compared to 110 for that litres per hour, is smaller, narrower and shorter. This is the cradle that holds the fuel pump inside the housing. It's held on some noise dampening little rubber things, which can be prized out of that. The issue is that if you're filling the fuel pump in the housing, because it's narrower, it will actually fall out at the end. Let me just show that it will come out at the end. Come on, there you go. Which is what you don't want to happen, because then the output flow pipe will pop out the fuel filter and you lose all of your fuel pressure. So what I'm going to have to do is find a little washer. I found this bit of washer and my spares came off an old angle grinder or something. I'm going to grind that down, get it to fit in the end to stop that fuel pump coming out, and so it's a tighter fit around the housing. The fuel pump kit that I got, which is this one, here's the part number HFP382SHUT, comes with this what seems to be petrol tolerant bit of silicone fitting, Originally that's for Honda CBR 1000, I think. So I'm going to cut out bits of that, wrap it around the new fuel pump and make it a tight fit inside the housing. A couple of other things. This piece of sleeve, this plastic sleeve, which was on the original on there, that's to stop the rubber O-ring, which goes over the end here, going down too low and popping off. Because what happens is, this is the interface where the fuel pump goes into. Shaft goes down there, there's rubber O-ring. What you don't want is that rubber O-ring being forced out of this outer plastic housing. So you can see I've actually transferred the plastic housing from the old one to the new one, because the ones that come with the kit's not quite the right size. And I've used the original collar and the original piece of plastic that goes into the fuel filter. What else? So I've got this 5-bar fuel regulator, generic one off eBay, they're all the same size. The only thing I had to do was cut off the pipe that sticks out the side, because you can see on the original it doesn't have one and there's no room in the housing for that. The fuel pump kit comes with loads of different options of intake fuel filters, all different sizes. Just pick one that's going to fit inside the housing. This is the original that we won't be using anymore, and it's well clogged up as well. So that whole fuel pump assembly came out of the car over here. So just got a pot to block the hole at the moment. On my setup on the engine, I'm going to use this universal adjustable fuel pressure regulator, which is connected to the fuel inlet side to our intake manifold and fuel injection rail. And it has to have a return pipe, which is this bottom pipe over here. So you can't see it around the back there. That bit of metal is the fuel intake pipe. This is the return, and it basically relieves pressure in the fuel intake pipe that goes onto the fuel rail until it's the right pressure. So because it's that type, they're quite cheap to buy, only about 15-20 pounds or something. I need to have a return line, so I've run another fuel line back to the tank, which means I need to return that fuel back into the tank. Now you see this housing does have a blank or unused fuel connector. It doesn't have the rubber washers in it, and the plastic is blanked inside, blocked off. I tried to find another quick connector that's compatible with these, same as what's on the fuel outlet. I couldn't find one anywhere on eBay, so decided I'm just going to make my own connector onto the tank. So this is a plumbing tank connector and a right angle adapter. I'll put some links in the video description again. 12mm to 8mm reducer piece on there, and that'll then connect with hopefully a very tight fit onto our 6mm inner fuel line hose that I'm going to use. Now the only trouble is to fit that tank connector, I've got to drill a hole in the top of the plastic for it to fit. So I'm going to slice this off with the angle grinder, cut a hole, flatten it out, seal it off, and that'll be our fuel return. So it looks a bit complicated maybe to you, but it's actually not, I don't think, too difficult. As I said, I didn't show all the dismantling of the fuel pump assembly. It's fairly straightforward, just by looking at it and seeing where the clips go together, and hopefully in a few minutes I can show you it all fully assembled. That's a new pump wedged in its housing. Bit of silicone around there. Just use the silicone chopped all the way around there that came with the original pump, and wedged it in. It's very tight. That's our little washer at the end. It grounded off and adapted to fit nice and snug. And now you'll see, if you imagine where the original pump was in its housing, which would have been about there, then the outlet nozzle is at the same height. So it should interface with the filter well. That's good. So here's most of the parts reassembled. So the connection onto the original pump had an earthing strap to the filter. So to replicate that and make it better, I've actually soldered onto the filter, used that as a way of joining the two wires onto the connector from the pump. The other one I soldered and then put a crimp cover over the top, and also tucked it out of the way to minimize any chance of shorting out or failures. Here is, see underneath, there's our tank return. There's the new tank return. Fits fairly well and a similar height. I've sealed it all with Loctite 243 thread locker. Leave that a day to go off before I reassemble it, so that should lock the nuts in place and also seal it against the petrol. What else? Got the filter on the bottom. That filter is probably the best for picking up the lowest levels of fuel, and does just about fit in. So then we just got to reassemble the bottom cover, just making sure these tubes go into those tubes underneath. And I fitted that one, so it does actually fit on top. And there's the cover refitted, showing it just about fits. That's the tank fitted. I did grind off a little bit on the inside of the ring, as I thought I was going to be a bit short clearance around my fitting. I don't think I was in the end, so I didn't need to do that, but just watch that if you're doing yours. And the thing to remember is to fit the silicone sealing ring to the tank first before fitting the pump unit, otherwise you won't be able to get it to fit down and the ring to go on. But that's it. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope that's useful if you ever want to change the fuel filter or the fuel pump. Cheers, bye.